welcome to Thomas Lang, is a friend of Planet Drum and of us.
Absolutely. Hello, everybody at Planet Drum. It's good to see you again.
Nice to see you again. It's always a pleasure. I say this for the people who are watching, there's a lot of interviews of Thomas on Planet Drum, so
Yes.
I would like to talk about something more specific in this interview.
Perfect.
Because who doesn't know Thomas? Everyone knows his history and what he has done, so just let's go directly to the focus point. I would like to take advantage of your experience in recording, and you have also a studio, you do production, to talk about how to record a drum set.
Okay.
How do you mic an acoustic kit, starting with the kick drum?
Okay. Well, I'm a little spoiled because I endorse Audix microphones, and I have a big supply of fantastic microphones. That's the one important thing is, well, there are many important factors, but in my case, if I mic a bass drum, I use more than one microphone. I have a D6 microphone on the inside of the bass drum, mounted on a Randall May internal miking system, which is a rail inside of the bass drum, so you can, and the mic is permanently installed inside of the bass drum, and I can move it and direct it and point it into different places inside of the drum. And from the D6 microphone, I get a very good attack sound and also some very good low end. And in addition to that, I have a moon mic on the outside of the drum, which is a low microphone. It's an inverted speaker with a very large membrane, and I can record the front head down to 20 hertz, so you can get really, really low frequencies. And and I like to record, obviously, with two microphones. Sometimes I use a third microphone outside of the bass drum for some mid frequencies, which I use for effect. A little further away from the bass drum, maybe 2 feet in front of the drum head. The moon mic is right on the bass drum head, on the front head, and the D6 is on the inside of the drum. And I do this with both bass drums. I use two bass drums, so I have 4 or 6 microphones just on the bass drums, which is a lot of microphones. If you don't have the luxury of having so many microphones, I recommend getting a good bass drum microphone, like whatever brand you like, but get a specific bass drum microphone. They are usually EQ'd from a factory, and they have a certain scoop, a frequency scoop in the mid range, somewhere between around 500 hertz, and they have a little bit of a equalization in the top end at around 3,500 hertz for some attack, and sometimes at 5,000 hertz for a high-pitched attack. So get a specific bass drum microphone, and then just experiment with positioning inside of the drum. Yes, and I recommend for a punchy kick drum sound, of course, to put the mic inside of the bass drum, not outside of the bass drum. If you want a longer note and a more sustained note and a softer sound, then put it in front of the bass drum head on the outside. But I like the combination of a lot of kick and some good sub low, and that's how I do. That's how I record my bass drum. Yeah.
And concerning the bass drum, how about muffling? Do you use a lot of muffling?
No, not a lot. The maximum amount of muffling I use is a very small muffle pillow that is standard in DW bass drums. It's only about this big. And I only use it on the batter head, not on the resonant head. I like the resonant head to be completely open and produce a long note, and I like the batter head to be a little bit muffled, but I often use no muffling at all. And but I have a porthole in the front head. I have a hole in the front head. That's very important to me. I want a lot of air to go out the front head, so I don't get that kind of double, bounce on the kick drum when I play heel up. And I have it tuned very low. It's only finger tight, so there's almost no tension on the bass drum. Very low, a little bit of muffling, and a porthole in the front.
talk about the snare, which is the other very important.
On my snare drums, I'm also, again, I'm very lucky. I have a May internal miking system inside of the snare drum as well, which is, and I use a custom-made Audix i5 microphone, which is pointed down inside of the drum towards the wires. So the inside microphone doesn't record the top head, it records the bottom head. It's pointed at the wires, snare wires inside of the drum. And on top I use an i5 microphone by Audix for the attack and the crack of the snare drum. And I blend these two microphones and I get using mainly the top microphone, but a little bit of the snare drum microphone. But there's about 5 dB difference between the top. If the top mic is on 0 dB, then the snare wires are at least -3, sometimes -5 dB, just for a little bit of the wire sound. And I don't like to use in my studio a bottom snare drum mic because it records a lot of bass drum and a lot of the rest of the drum set if it's under the snare drum. So if you put a nice condenser mic under the wires, you have to expect a lot of bleed and crosstalk from other drums and instruments. And that to me, like a bottom snare mic is more like a core microphone to me. And if I use a bottom snare mic, I put it even lower, further away from the wires, and I record the whole drum set as a core microphone, as a mono core microphone. So yes, exactly. So you get a lot of bass drum, you get a lot of snare drum, and you get a little bit of ambience from the rest of the drum set. Yeah.